Greetings petrolheads, welcome back to Automation the Car Company Tycoon game. Today we got another review coming up. It is sent in by Cody Caps and he built a senior coupe. He says he based this off a mix of the 1969 Oldsmobile 442, 1970 Challenger and the 1973 Mustang Senior, and he spent about 4 hours engineering everything, and so let's take a look at it. Had better be good, right? Now that we spent so much time on it. So, it is a corrosion resistant steel monocoque as far as the chassis goes. The engine is, we can already see it's a V8. It's mounted longitudinally with McPherson's up front and a wishbone suspension on the rear end. Gorgeous. Corrosion resistant steel as our panel material means it's very American. And well, American would be plain steel, I guess, but anyway, as far as looks go, this really looks the part of late 60s, early 70s muscle cars, I have to say. The nose is lowered quite a bit, so it's got the kind of look where the front just sticks out up front, which is basically the walker passerbys. What's the not passer, just people on the street, let's put it that way. Fuck those folks who only walk through the streets. If you hit them with this car, you'll basically stab them. Some vents on the bonnet. Oh, and we have a custom badge here. Looks pretty decent. Lots of chrome. 2 lips actually up front. And then a wing on the rear end. And some pretty classy looking taillights with 2 exhaust pipes. It's a rather simple look, but it's adequate for the late 60s, early 70s era. Speaking of which, why is the year 2015? Anyway, it is, yeah, definitely rear-wheel drive. We got a V8 there with a cast iron block material and 7.2 liters of capacity. It's also using modern OHV, modern push rods with aluminum head. So I mean, now this is where it gets kind of awkward, in my opinion. Billet steel crank with I-beam titanium conrods and forged pistons is very expensive and probably not available in the early 70s, if you will. 9.7 compression ratio, 40 cam profile, VVT. The 40 cam profile is a pretty mid-range cam profile, if you will. It's it makes it so the torque comes in relatively early, but still it's pretty evened out, as you can see here in the torque graph, which makes for a very linear power band. And the torque dropping off at the top end means that the power curve kind of bends a little bit at the top range. It is naturally aspirated. Then we got multi-point EFI with a single configuration and standard intake, which looks like this. Regular unleaded fuel type is pretty much standard in America, I guess. Then 13.5 fuel mixture is not too rich, but also not very lean. And then 5400 RPM limit is probably due to the modern push rods not being able to take that many revs. We got... Oh no, actually it's the bottom end part. The pistons. The forged pistons can't take more than 5400 RPM? That's kinda news to me, but... You know, it is what it is, I can't change it. Tubular exhaust headers only? I would have expected long tubular ones, but it's, you know... What do I know? You can also see the gorgeous ignition wires here. I've been playing too much Car Mechanic Simulator 2015 recently. But anyway. We got tubular headers with dual exhausts and an adequate exhaust diameter. Double straight through mufflers. Let's listen to this thing. So 5400 RPM limit, it does also kind of sound as if the power was cut off prematurely. An 8-speed double clutch gearbox. I mean, this is pretty much the only gearbox that comes close to a modern 8-speed automatic, so I can't blame him for that, and 8 speeds on automatics are pretty much standard today. Electric LSD is not standard today now, and especially not for an early 70s kind of car. See, this is what confuses me. Is this a car meant to be produced in the 70s, or is it meant to be a car meant to be produced today? I don't fully understand. Hard long life road tires, 17-inch rims, 205s all around. Like, who does that in these days? Who does that on a 7.2 liter V8 these days? Like, it's just unacceptable, really. Even the standard, even the Mustang EcoBoost has significantly wider tires than that. Magnesium rims, really? See, this confuses me. Like, aesthetically, it has the theme of the early 70s, of the late 60s and all that, but mechanically, I'm just not sure what it's supposed to be. Vented disc with 3 pistons front and rear, same diameter front and rear. You could have probably tweaked those a little bit, but we don't have brake fade and the stopping distance is alright at least. Downforce under tray, but no downforce. Again, kind of confusing, but like, do you want downforce, yes or no? If you want downforce, then you know, downforce under tray is easily justified, and then you can also increase this. Also, what's the point of having a wing and 2 lips if you're not gonna add any sort of downforce? I mean, the aesthetic's okay. I understand that point. I do it all the time myself, but if I do that, then I'm definitely not gonna choose a downforce under tray. You're basically just limiting this car's top speed and fuel economy, even though this isn't a very economical car to begin with. Only 2 seats with sport interior, standard infotainment, no traction or stability control like in the 70s, but advanced 2010 safety. I don't know. What is this car? Active sport springs, semi-active dampers, passive sway bars, and looks like a pretty normal suspension setup here, with no oversteer, surprisingly enough. Overall, 24.2 sportiness, despite the fact that A, we have a 7.2 liter V8, B, we don't have traction or stability control, and C, we have a downforce under tray and pretty much the fastest shifting gearbox. With all that, 24.2 sportiness in 2015 is like very disappointing. The drivability of 43.7 is mostly down to this steering behavior graph, I would say, because otherwise, like 55.6% wheel spin definitely won't help the drivability. The electric LSD does though. That and the very quote-unquote user-friendly steering behavior is what I think makes the drivability still somewhat okay. And then the weight is over 2 tons. Like, I still don't understand what this car is. Do you intentionally use old tech, like with the multi-point EFI and all that, and the cast iron block, to kind of recreate an older feel of the car, maybe? Like, do you intentionally want to make this car retro, but in 2015? Is that maybe the point? But even then, 205 rear tires, especially hard long life road tires, on the 7.2 liter V8 is pretty much like, this is a no-go. Why would you ever do this? As soon as, like, look at this. Now, for example, we're gonna now drive it on a straight line, and you're gonna watch this throttle meter for the first couple of gears, where it is, how much throttle he can use. There, then in second gear half, third gear 3/4, not even quite full throttle in fourth gear, and then in fifth gear he can nail it. That is why the acceleration time is not that great at all, and neither is the quarter mile time of 14 point what? 14.06. For this kind of power, and also the weight distribution is not that bad, because this is one heavy ass car. So naturally it does have a lot of weight everywhere. So the engine doesn't make that much of a difference up front, because, you know, if you have a steel chassis and steel body panels, then there's also going to be a lot of weight on the rear. And for that matter, I don't know, like 4 seats would have made the weight distribution even better. Yeah, definitely. They wouldn't have helped the acceleration time though, strangely enough. But what I also would say is you should definitely change the gearing here. It's much too short in my opinion. And also, like, if it's supposed to be a retro car, why put an 8-speed double clutch gearbox and an electric LSD in there? I mean, the LSD kind of makes sense, but even then, an automatic locker would not hurt acceleration time that much. It would lower costs by more than 2,000. Yeah, but overall the stats are better with the electric LSD. But if it's supposed to be a retro style car, why don't you give it a manual gearbox? Like, overall it looks the part, but mechanically I just don't get it. So with that, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button, it helps out a great deal. Subscribe if you wanna see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.